What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Let's Talk Live podcast. This is episode 27, and I want to welcome everybody into the chat. The chat is filling in, and I hope everybody had an amazing couple of days. I finally had an amazing couple of days. I was off for work for 3 days in a row. Unfortunately, I have to go back to work tomorrow, and I go on an 8-day stretch. So, yeah, fun is over. But today was interesting. I had to drop my car early this morning, and I literally overhauled my whole suspension in my car. So that was fun. But I did get it back this afternoon at 2, but I really wasn't doing much because I was just literally home sitting, cutting, and making videos. So now here we are on the live show. I'm going to pull up some of the people here. Christine is new. Thank you so much for being a new subscriber. Cindy's here. Web Weaver's here. We have Lakota is always here. My mod is in the chat, Chosen Rosen. Good to see you, my brother. Teresa's here. PKC. Brenda's here. Reeb is here. Brenda's here. Mary Beth is here. Good stuff. Good stuff. And we have, yeah, that's where we're at right now. But, I wanted to get into some conversation about the King Road house this evening, about it being demolished. I have a couple of things I also wanted to get into. Let me just pull up my notes here. So I want to talk about the 30-day stay from Judge. We're going to get into the training records of the officers, and we're going to talk about the demolition of the King Road house. And I know that probably you've all heard a lot of this, but as you know, I've kind of taken a little bit of time off from Idaho. We had an Idaho show the other night, but it was just more in the direction of debunking a lot of stuff that was going on. But this will kind of get us caught up to speed a little bit here. But before I get into tonight's show, there is something that's been brought to my attention, and I was really angry about it. Not really just angry, but furious about it. And I'm glad that it's been brought to my attention, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to look into it and figure out what was going on. So what I want to first talk about this evening is someone that has cast a huge dark shadow over the true crime YouTube community, or just true crime community in general. And that person's name is Zav Girl. And if everybody is not familiar with what happened, well, she got a hold of Gannon Stouch autopsy photos and decided to put them behind a paywall on Patreon and have her subscribers view those photos on her Patreon. Knowing what I know about that case, and knowing that the way that little boy died, after being found of being in a suitcase, for weeks or months, I don't know why anybody would want to pay money to view any of those photos. And if you did, then shame on you. Shame on you. And shame on Zav Girl for exposing that behind a paywall to make money off someone's death photos. Now, look, I know that a lot of people don't like the true crime community because of situations like this and the types of subjects that we get into, and the types of things that we talk about, and the things that we chat about, and the things that we bring to life. I'm angry about this. I really am. I'm really, really angry about this because we're going to catch the shit from it now. And believe me, we catch a lot of shit. I read Reddit. I know what people say about us on Reddit. They hate us. They hate the true crime community. There's thousands of threads about us. But what I want to do is pull up this story here and get you all informed as to what's going on. So Zav Girl, this is from Wealthy Peeps. Zav Girl autopsy photos. Was she caught for stealing Gannon's pics? And this was a story that was put out today, July 11, 2023. Zav Girl gets users' attention after a controversy of selling autopsy photos. Zav Girl autopsy photos begin circulating online, causing outrage and disappointment among internet users. Zav Girl is a true crime YouTuber who gets caught selling. I'm sorry, it wasn't stealing, it was selling. My correction. Selling autopsy photos of Gannon Stotch, who was murdered by his stepmother. Stotch was an 11-year-old kid who went missing in January of 2020. After triggering nationwide search, his stepmother, Letitia Stotch, was eventually kept on the prime suspect list. A furious backlash has erupted against true crime YouTubers Zav Girl and Natasha Cooper. She was involved in this as well, as they allegedly charged their Patreon to view gruesome autopsy photos of Gannon Stotch. This is an 11-year-old boy. What the fuck? What in the fuck are you thinking? Where is your moral fucking judgment? Moral fucking judgment. And even if it wasn't an 11-year-old boy, you shouldn't be doing this at all to anybody. We'll read on here. The shocking revelation sparked widespread online outrage, arguing that exploiting such a tragedy for self-gain is unethical. It's been over 2 years since Stotch is missing, but was recently in the headlines on social media. Currently, his autopsy pictures were shared online by crime YouTubers. Zav Girl autopsy photos now trend online as the creator faces heavy backlash against her actions, and she should. Following Gannon Stotch's death, his autopsy photos were widely circulated online. Such photographs are unethical, insulting to be departed and their families. YouTubers Zav Girl and Tasha Cooper, and shame on you too, garnered a following by covering and discussing true crime cases for their audiences, but this time they went too far with the case. Zav Girl earned over 92,000 YouTube subscribers on YouTube, who described her channel as a platform to give victims of tragic crimes a voice. That is not the proper way to give any victim a proper voice. Shame on you. You're disgusting. You should be thrown off YouTube, and Natasha Cooper should be thrown off YouTube as well, because people like you give people like us a bad name. Reportedly, she holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and aims to engage in community discussion to archive new insights into human behavior. On the contrary, Natasha Cooper has a smaller subscriber base with at least 2,000 followers. She focused on creators' awareness and discussing unsolved and solved crime cases, welcoming and respecting, quote, respecting different opinions and engaging with her viewers. Despite claiming to have respectful community discussions, the YouTubers went too far, releasing autopsy photos of an 11-year-old boy who was brutally murdered by his stepmother. Moreover, Zav Girl and Natasha Cooper have Patreon profiles where they offered exclusive content to their subscribers. I can't even get through this article. I'm so disgusted by this. Charging a specific fee structure, the YouTubers now face severe backlash. Viewers struggled that they utilized Gannon Stotch's autopsy photos to make money. Screenshots circulating on social platforms showing Cooper's update on Patreon, stating that Zav Girl would be live streaming crime scenes and autopsy photos. Her post indicated that only subscribers starting at a $3 level, so it was $3, a life worth $3, to show these brutal photos of a murdered 11-year-old boy. Shame on you. You're a disgusting person. Or above could have access to the live stream. Hence, expressing their outrage and disgust at the content creators for profiling from a tragedy involving an 11-year-old child. Twitter and Reddit were flooded with condemnations directed at content creators, condemning their actions as exploitation. This is what I mean. So because you go out and you're so fucking selfish and so money hungry, you put this type of crap out there, and it sheds this dark cloud, which we have to shed every single day for doing this on this platform. And now it whips up Twitter and Reddit. And these people hate us, believe me. On one user on the platform tweeted reading, "A new low for true crime. It's absolutely despicable. Gannon Stotch was an 11-year-old boy, deserves his dignity and death. He was a child who was brutally murdered. A line has been crossed. This is not good. I hope the family takes action." Similarly, the hashtag Gannon Stotch has been trending on Twitter. Also, many users urge Patreon and YouTube to take action against Zavgirl and Natasha Cooper. I am saying it today. If anybody is reviewing this stream today, you need to take down the accounts of Zavgirl and Natasha Cooper. They should not be on this platform anymore. It's over. You're done. You should never be back here. And I hope that you never recover for this. And it doesn't matter how much you apologize. You've gone way too far. I'm done. And we are done. We don't want this type of behavior in our community. And that's why I've sat here for the last weeks calling out all these other fucking creators that come on and spread these lies about the people in Idaho. I'm tired of it. This shit needs to stop. And you as viewers need to stop viewing this content, because you are enabling these people to continue with what they're doing. So if you are viewing these creators, shame on you as well. Don't enable these people anymore. They're going to continue to do it, because all the bottom line for these people are clicks, views, super chats, memberships, whatever, PayPal donations. Stop. These people don't care. At the end of the day, they will move on and go to the next case that they can exploit for clicks and views. They were also called for the suspension of their accounts. User reported and exploited murdering child autopsy photos were deemed morbid, damaging, and unethical, with the demands of Zavgirl to face consequences for their actions. I hope that there's some attorney involved in this, and I hope that there are charges in this case. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. So, what did I do? Well, I was following Bryan Enton today, and Bryan tweeted out. Let me just... I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm going to enlarge it a little bit more so y'all can see it. So Bryan says, why would a YouTuber think it's appropriate to post autopsy photos of a brutally murdered 11-year-old boy and then charge money for people to see the photos? Imagine how little Gannon Stotch's family feels. The prosecutor joins me live on News Nation at 9 p.m. tonight. So 9 p.m. tonight, the prosecutor is going to be on News Nation with Bryan Enton. I wish I could bring it up. So I tweeted at Bryan because I saw his post. I said, unfortunately, Zavgirl's actions are going to cast more negative light on the true crime YouTube community. We get enough shit already. Bryan tweeted back to me, and I was surprised. He said, not my intention. I love the true crime YouTube community mostly. Most people are respectful and victim focus. Even some who don't like me still do a pretty good job. So I responded and said, I respect you as a journalist. You cover each case with respect and dignity. Your Idaho coverage is solid. What was done by Zavgirl is uncalled for and just shows the lack of moral judgment. So I went to the floor today. And I stuck up for the YouTubers that are trying to do this right, to try to give a real voice to the victims, to try to give a real voice to the community, to try to give a real voice to the families. But this shit needs to stop. You all need to stop. Stop making things up. And I've said this for a while. Our lives go on. Your life goes on. These families' lives have stopped. And now that they've just getting barely grieving through this horrible murder, it's all drummed up again because some idiot had to go out and put pictures behind a paywall of a dead boy for people to view. And if you paid $3 to see those photos, you're a disgusting person too. Man, this shit works me up. Not cool. Not cool. Not cool. All right, let me get a sip of water and then we'll get into the show. Okay. Oh, man. Let me look at some of these chats. I know I went off for a little while there. Let's see. I hope they sue their Heine. Absolutely. Yes, report her. Can you give me Jeff's podcast? I can't seem to find him. Jeff. I don't know what Jeff is. If Jeff H. Yeah, we'll get into that a little later if you're looking for Jeff H. Let's see. I followed Zavgirl until she handled the way that she handled the Kylie Ronan case. However, I never dreamed she would have gone this far. I unsubscribed over a year ago, but she's still angry. I'm still angry and disgusted with her. Zavgirl is a disgrace and should be charged along allowing someone so personal to be available for anyone to pay for. Lock her up. This can't be apologized for. I completely agree, Brenda. I agree, Bryan. It's ridiculous that she should be thrown in jail. I don't think, I don't know if there's going to be jail, but there should be, I don't know the legal ramifications of this. I'm sure they're probably going to be some there, but yeah, everybody's pretty worked up, and yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some criminal trial. I'd love to see what Bryan Enton has to say with the prosecutor tonight and see what the prosecutor says about that as well too. And I think Tanya figured something out about, she said something earlier in her live. She was talking about there was some language that was on Patreon or something like that. She was talking about it earlier. I forget what she was saying, but she was talking about some language about posting types of content like that. So that's why she was basically kicked off the platform. And YouTube needs to take action too. The funny thing that cracks me up, I'll make a video about, I did a video today about Larry Nassar, that scumbag doctor that got convicted back in 2018 for, touching all those girls on the Olympic National Olympic team. He was the trainer or whatever. I'll do a video about that. They'll limit, I'm basically against that person because he was just recently stabbed in jail over this past weekend. I'm basically doing a video against that person, showing how disgusting they are. That video will get flagged and limited, and someone will have to review that. And ultimately they'll probably say, I can't make any money off it. And they just did that with my Menendez brothers live stream that I did the other day, where I just talked about the case, and I'm now censored, and I'm censored on that. I can't talk about it. The new evidence that's come up. So that gets censored. But these people like this, that do things like this, they get free reign on here. They can do whatever they want. And some of the other channels that I've watched in here too, the language that they use, the way that they talk about people, the way that they talk about law enforcement, nothing happens to them. Nothing happens to them. Nothing happens to them. Nothing happens to them. They disrespect law enforcement. They call people pigs. Nothing happens to these people. Their streams don't get shut down. Their streams don't get limited. Nothing. Okay, so let's get into Idaho. I appreciate you all listening to me rant there. I think it was a well-deserved rant. I was pretty fired up coming on the stream tonight, and this is something that needed to be said. I'm sure Tanya was talking a little bit about it today in her members only chat today. I'm sure that she's probably going to come out and make a video as well. So Tanya, you got to get out there. You got to say something about this. Stick up for the good people here in the YouTube community. You got to call this stuff out. This stuff needs to be shut down. We can't have this. And I know she's in the chat tonight. I know she's hanging out. So I'm encouraging you, please call this stuff out. You need to. All right, let's get into Idaho here. So we've had a lot of movement in the Bryan Kohberger case over the last week or so. I don't know. I'm getting really stuffed up right now. I apologize. So first thing I wanted to talk about was Bryan Kohberger has been found to be indigent. And this recent legal document here kind of explains that. We'll go through this. Order of county to pay expenses for transcribing grand jury transcript. So you know who pays for that? The taxpayers of Idaho. The taxpayers of Idaho will pay that. And I think I missed a new member, by the way. Let me go back and up and look. I thought I saw a new member. Yes, Angelic Darkness has become a new member of the channel. Thank you so much for becoming a new member. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Okay, and I just saw another super chat come through. I'm going to grab that one before I move on. Let's see. Lindsay G says, per Florida statutes, photos from autopsy reports are very protected. I left a message with the medical examiner office who did his autopsy, left a tip with missing and exploited children, reported her to YouTube and Patreon. Yes, this is what we need in this community. So my hat's off to you. Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you for the $20 donation. I appreciate it. This needs to be done. This activity, an activity like this needs to be called out. It needs to be called out. Lindsay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so Bryan Kohberger has been ruled indigent. Now, as I was saying, the grand jury transcripts will be paid by the taxpayers of Idaho. I heard a rumor that this case, by the end of the trial, if it goes to trial, that it could cost between $5 and $10 million. $5 and $10 million. I'm not going to read this whole document, but it's an order of county to pay expenses for transcribing grand jury transcript. Defendant Bryan C. Kohberger was previously found to be indigent pursuant of IC 19. Basically saying he has no money. He's a student. He's not working. He has no money. On June 28, 2023, the court, based on stipulation from the parties, entered an order of preparation and release of transcript records of the grand jury proceedings with the condition. So Bryan Kohberger is going to get the transcripts from the grand jury. Now, I also heard a rumor that at that, and again, it's just a rumor, things that are going around on the old Twitter sphere and YouTubes, that Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen were at that grand jury hearing. That is the ongoing rumor out there. So the transcript is scheduled to be completed by July 21st, 2023. So about 10 days from now. Therefore, based on the defendant's inability to pay and his party's stipulation for preparation of the transcript, the defendant's review, it is ordered by the Latah County to pay the expense associated with transcribing the grand jury transcript once the transcript is completed. Signed, John C. Judge. So we have that. that just came up. And I also want to get to this article as well about Judge issuing the 30-day stay for Bryan Kohberger to come up with his alibi. Let's look at this from Creme 2. It's a news article I'm going to pull up here. So Judge in Bryan Kohberger case. Can you guys see this? All right, perfect. Judge in Bryan Kohberger case issues a 30-day stay on the Speedy trial clock. Now, you might ask, Bryan, what is a stay? I'll read the definition. A stay is measure taken by the court to terminate legal proceedings or action of a party. A stay is usually issued by a court as a stay of proceeding to prevent litigation from continuing and is usually only temporary. So basically, he's going to get a little bit more time. Listen, man, you need more time to come up with your alibi. Come on, man. Like, that's kind of where I'm feeling on this right now. An indefinite stay at proceeding was ultimately denied, but the Latah County judge did grant a 30-day stay to allow Coburger to review the grand jury material. Moscow, Idaho, a man accused of murdering the 4 University of Idaho students last November had a motion to stay proceeding indefinitely in his case denied by judge in this case. Newly filed documents show Coburger requested a stay citing substantial failure to comply with selection procedures for a grand jury. An indefinite stay of proceedings was ultimately denied by Latah County judge. Did grant a 30-day stay, allow Coburger and his defense team to review the materials from the grand jury, and rightfully so. I mean, he has that right to do that. We know that the transcript is not going to be ready until the 21st, so that's another 10 days from now. It's his right as a defendant to be able to review those materials over with his attorneys. Let me see if that's too much. Okay, so it goes on to say, Latah County prosecutors' objection to Coburger's request, and Coburger filed a sworn statement of fact in support of the motion to stay proceedings. However, Judge John C. Judge determined that the motion is premature since Coburger has not reviewed the grand jury records, which will be filed shortly after he was indicted for the 4 murders. Less than 2 weeks ago, the court agreed to release some of the grand jury material for the defense to review. Despite this case, the court determined that Coburger and his defense have a right to review the materials from the grand jury, as well as the right to challenge the grand jury selection process. The court ultimately denied Coburger's request to stay proceedings due to the complexity of the case. However, the court did grant him time to review the grand jury materials and decide whether or not he wants to file a new motion to stay proceedings. The court also acknowledged Coburger's right to a speedy trial in order to stay in the running of the speedy trial clock until August 1st. It allows him 37 extra days to review the material without giving up his right to a speedy trial. It seems like the walls are starting to close in here a little bit. Judge said the motion does not affect any aspect of the case or the scheduled start date of the trial. Coburger's trial is still set to begin on October 2nd, but could be moved if the defense decides those extra 37 days are necessary to prepare for the trial. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm probably not the first person that's going to tell this, and you probably all know what I'm going to say in this chat right now. The 37-day extension, they're going to take it. And I'm sure you all mouthed it at the same time I did. They're going to take it. They're going to delay this. They're going to do it. Kohberger is accused of murdering the University of Idaho students Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonzalez, Zanika Nodal, and Madison Mogan off their campus in last November. He was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania December 30th, 2022, and has been awaiting trial in the Latah County Jail since early January. Since his arrest, Coburger has been indicted by the grand jury and chose to stand silent at his arraignment, meaning not guilty plea was entered on his behalf. On June 26th, the state announced they indeed to seek the death penalty against Coburger. And this is what I mean, for everybody out there that's doubting that there's this, what we're seeing is the only evidence that we've seen. This is the only evidence they got. I'm going to tell you, the state would not push forward with a death penalty case if they didn't have this guy dead to rights involved in this case. They wouldn't do it. You want me to play the video? We'll play the video. Let's go up here and play this video. Let me get past this ad.
In the meantime, we are continuing to track updates in the trial of the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students last year. Bryan Kohberger will have more time now to review his case materials after a judge granted him a 37-day stay. His attorneys filed a motion to put a pause on the case yesterday. The judge, though, granted him a 37-day stay to allow him and his defense team to review material from the grand jury that indicted him. The judge says this motion does not affect any other aspect of the case. Kohberger's trial is set to start in the beginning of October.
I have actually a bunch of videos about the demo. So I don't know. Did you email me something? Let's see. Did you send me something, Tanya? I don't have anything. I don't know. You said something about sending me one earlier. I didn't get a video from you earlier, but anyway, I have some videos that I'm going to pull up anyway. I have kind of my presentation all lined up. So yeah, so I just wanted to bring some light to that. I'm sure that you've all heard about this. I mean, it's not anything new here. I'm just kind of getting caught up as to what's going on, frankly, because I've taken such a break on this. And then we've had, I've had the panels over here. I've had Tanya on here last couple of days, and I've had Detective John over here as well too. So, again, it's nothing new here. So next thing I want to talk about is the defense gets the training records of the officers that was requested by Ann Taylor. Let me see what I have here. I'm not going to pull up the documents. I mean, we've gone over those a billion times. And let's do this. So let's start off with the argument from Ann Taylor when she was in court requesting those training records from the officers. About a 9-minute video. Let's play this and see what Ann Taylor had to say.
First, I want to start with talking about the discovery process. As the court knows, we have been representing Mr. Coburger since the very end of December of 2022. And during the course of the last several months, there has been a lot of discovery that's been requested and a lot that's been supplied. I come here asking the court to compel discovery. I'm seeking an order directing that we receive this discovery. I'm not seeking any other kind of sanction. I don't come here saying that the prosecutor has done something wrong. I come here saying that there are things that we have a disagreement about whether I should get them or when I should get them, and we seek a court order to assist us in this regard. Yesterday, we filed an exhibit that related to our motions to compel, and the purpose of that exhibit was to show the court how the discovery is coming in and what we are leading through to find.
Now, listen, I just want to pause this really quick because, I've heard just a lot, even on the side of like people that think that Coburger is dead to rights guilty in this. The thing that you have to keep in context is that you can't get mad at Ann Taylor. All she's doing is her job. Her job is to do everything in the best for her client, to fight for her client's life. This guy is facing the death penalty. So she needs to do everything in her power to save his life. So, we can't necessarily get down on her. You know, I've heard a lot of like hate come out on her lately, but it's like she's just doing her job. It's her job. It's her job. So, you know, you got to respect someone for just doing their job.
Try to find the information and to let the court know that our office is making extraordinary efforts. Mr. Coburger's team works nonstop. And when we ask for discovery, it's because we have reason to believe it exists. So it's, I
thank you, Happy. I appreciate you.
To be aware, it's not a fishing expedition. These are real. With that as the background and the frequent communication with the prosecutor's office to try to obtain the materials we need, we have come to an impasse in a few areas, and that's what brings us to court today. As the court knows, discovery is governed by statute 1509 and Idaho Criminal Rule 16. The purpose of discovery is really to prevent an unfair trial, to prevent trial by surprise, and also to protect a charged person's rights to meet their defense. It protects their Sixth Amendment rights to have a sufficient and a prepared counsel, I should say, as we have a duty to investigate the case. So in preparing...
Well, you got to think this is probably the, I mean, I don't know her track record, but this is probably the biggest case that she's ever been on. I mean, look at Marcia Clark when she went through the O.J. Simpson trial. I mean, she changed her appearance, quite a few times. That'll do to you. You're on the national and world stage. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
In our case for Mr. Coburger, we've asked for several things that we still need. I'll talk first about.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. I have to agree here. Truth and justice matters. Is the way she wrote that motion was inappropriate and unprofessional. The way she used words to entice conspiracies and misinformation was calculated. Absolutely. That's her, that's her job. That's her job to raise doubt in this case, to try to get her client, exonerated. So absolutely. I mean, I agree with you 100%. I joked about the chicken and the egg. You always hear me say the chicken and the egg. And that, that was in their writings for the motion, their response for the motion for discovery. I call it kind of the chicken and the egg theory. But yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. But it's, it's her job. It's her job. So let's keep playing through here.
6 in the first motion to compel, and that stems from discovery request.
And you're going to think too, you're on this national stage, this huge case, world stage, actually, this huge case, you've probably never been into a trial, and I don't know what her record is. So, I may be wrong on this. She might have handled other murder cases. I don't think she's done a death penalty case, but it's probably some things that are a little bit new for her as well too. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm not always right. Believe me.
These are training records of 3 specific police officers. Your Honor, these we have
100%. They all know.
Training records for every officer.
And I hate to keep pausing this, but there's just really great points being brought up in the chat. I mean, even Detective John was saying the other day, they all know. They know a lot more than you and I and everybody in this panel right now. They know a lot more what's going on. So, this is true. This is true.
That has had anything to do with the case. I would not want to stand here and let the court think that this is an exhaustive list of the officers that we might need training records for. But these are 3 officers that we requested them for, and the state has indicated they're not willing to give us the training records. These 3 officers are officers that have each conducted critical interviews with critical witnesses in the case, made decisions about the interviews, made decisions about evidence, and conducted other kinds of investigations. We seek their training records to understand their processes. The training records, Your Honor, they are records that we've been able to obtain from various police agencies in the past. In this circumstance, are not records that I can find on my own. These are not things that are on the internet. They're not going to just hand them over to me. The two of the officers that we've requested them.
Thank you, Mary.
about
Appreciate
are
that.
Idaho State police officers. I have often received training records for Idaho State police officers in the preparation of other cases during the course of my career. They are imperative for us to understand the specialty in interrogating and interviewing people and for making the decisions that they made with regard to things taken as evidence in the case.
I think that's going to be the route that they may go. Requesting the records, looking at what the training habits have been of these particular officers that were there, the way that they gathered evidence. We said this, Laura and I were talking about this weeks ago on a stream when all of this started to come up, and she was requesting all this information. I said, they're going to go after the officers. They're going to try to make it, it's essentially the same thing that happened in the O.J. Simpson trial. They got these officers on the stands. They started to talk to the crime scene investigators that collected evidence. They looked at the way that their habits were, the way that they collected evidence, the way that they sealed bags, the way that they handled evidence, and they broke all those people down in front of the jury because they weren't following protocol. They weren't following procedure. And I believe that's what's going to be the tactic here. So you make the murder case essentially go away, and it becomes the trial of the police department, and it becomes the trial of the people in that case. So you're hiding it. You're hiding the murder. You're hiding the murder. It's put away. Now we have all these issues. The evidence wasn't collected properly. The witnesses weren't interviewed properly. Something wasn't sent off to a lab properly. We heard that with the DNA evidence in the O.J. Simpson trial. They smeared through all of that. They found inconsistencies. Do I think that this, do I think that's going to be the route that they go? Absolutely. That's why she wants to know the training records. She wants to see, if these police officers were following exact to the procedure, so she could knock holes in the testimony.
Followed up on or not followed up on. So that is the purpose for those records, and we're asking the court to order the state to provide the training records for those three officers. Moving on then to our second motion to compel. And what we are looking for is a lot of information from the FBI CAST team, as well as the FBI forensic examiner team. What we're talking about here is the CAST team.
No, the blood was never put inside the truck. The blood was never put inside the truck. The blood was there. Blood was there, but Johnny Cochran was so good. When they got Furman on the stand, Furman allegedly came out and said a lot of racist things. So now you made it look like it was a bad cop, and they started to dig into him. And when they started digging into him, you have a cop that's allegedly racist. He was the one that found the glove. He was the one, I believe, that found the blood in the truck. You start putting those things together. Now it looks like you planted evidence. You might have done something to tamper with the scene. Now that's all alleged again, but that's how they attacked. That's how they attacked Furman. He was the lead detective on the case.
Are the FBI examiners that use cell phone records to provide a lot of information that found its way into the probable cause.
Cochran was so good, and that team was so good. That's why it was called the Dream Team. They casted so much doubt in the jurors. All the evidence was there,
they indicate that,
but they casted so much doubt.
Those items in number 1
that
and
he got acquitted.
6 disclosed to us, but we don't know when. So I'm
100%.
asking this court to issue an order with a date certain to obtain those records. These are bits of investigation that the FBI conducted that relate to Mr. Coburger's cell phone, and the state has relied on that in their affidavit to say that Mr. Coburger was in certain places at certain times. So these are bits of information and analysis that's been done since December. We are now at the end of June. We do not have those records yet, Your Honor. They are something that's been relied on.
I watched every two. Every day.
Mr. Coburger, as well as to obtain a variety of search warrants. It's information that the state has agreed we should have. So we ask the court for an order with a deadline to get that. I want the court to know, I don't think that Mr. Thompson or Ms. Jennings are trying to withhold this. I think they'll give it to me when they have it, but I think an order from the court saying this is the date certain may help them get the information a little bit more rapidly. I'll move on to our last request, and that's number 2 in the second motion to compel, request number 4. And that has to do with the FBI forensic examiner that told the state to look for a white.
Yes, we do.
This is the examiner that originally there were certain years looked for, and that year range was expanded. I believe I have the communication.
Well, yeah, Tanya's right. I mean, when I said yes, we do, I mean, we have a pretty good idea who they are. I mean, you know the detectives that wrote in the affidavit. I'm sure it's probably some of those people are involved with the training records they want to look at. So yeah, I mean, we have a good idea of who it is, I guess I would say. Not like, yes, we definitely do, because we really don't know. But I mean, you can pretty much start figuring things out when you start connecting the dots.
About how that date range changed, but what I don't have is the report from the examiner. I did receive the CD, curriculum vitae.
Yeah, so the way that I do my shows, JLH, is that when there's someone in the chat comes up, I can't just sit here for 9 minutes and play a video and just sit here. The audience is looking for me to interact, and that's how I do my shows. I know probably 99% of everybody in here has seen this video, so I do apologize. But usually what I do is I react off the chat, and I'll pull up chats and interact with that. It's kind of how I do my shows here. People are used to it. I just can't sit here for a 9-minute video and not talk. It would be very boring for the audience. And, it's a live show, so we interact. But I'll try to do a little bit better tonight for you. I appreciate you calling that out, but it's just kind of how I do my shows. And usually everybody's pretty much used to that because we just kind of hang out and talk. It's kind of what we do here. We just have a chat and we talk. So sorry about that, but we'll try to do it. That's why we have the closed captions on.
From the prosecutor's office. So I'm
Yeah, it's a month old. We've seen it.
To be given to the defense.
And what I do here is when I do segments, you all know that I look back first and then bring us up to, a current day.
Again, the court's read the probable cause affidavit that led to Mr. Coburger's arrest, and the court can see that this vehicle identification was heavily relied on by the state to arrest Mr. Coburger, as well as to obtain a lot of other search warrants. This is information that is very necessary for us to prepare our case. I don't think Mr. Thompson and Ms. Jennings are withholding anything. I think they don't have it, but I think we need a court order with a deadline so that we can get that. As the court is aware, the state has a duty to provide discovery to the defense.
All good.
As the court is aware that not producing discovery, especially when it's material, can be a due process violation. And as the court is aware, the state has filed its notice of intent to seek death against Mr. Coburger.
Yeah, you have to pause too.
These are critical,
she's right,
relevant materials, all of them, including the police.
Yeah, if I don't pause and talk over it, they'll nail me. They'll shut me down. So you have to pause and talk a little bit when you stream this content, because we don't own this content. Tanya knows. She's, fair use. You have to pause. You have to do it this way, unfortunately, because if we just stream for an 8-minute stream, you will literally get shut down. You have to commentate over it. So, yeah, Nancy says, I appreciate all pausing to answer quick. Yeah, I mean, the lives are tough. The lives are tough because we have to interact. Yeah, we do. We have big mouths. We want to talk. Summer knows. I have a big mouth. I have a very big mouth. I have a very big mouth.
Records. They're necessary for us to prepare and present our defense of Mr. Coburger. They're necessary for us to do our investigation. They're necessary for us to prepare our case and our motion practice moving forward. These are things that we need to have. There is a heightened standard now that the state has filed its notice of intent to seek death, and these are very relevant, critical bits of information. They are discoverable, and we're asking the court to order that they be supplied to us.
All right. So that was the argument that Ann Taylor had. Now we're going to pull up a video from Cuomo. Not really my favorite person in the world, but we want to see what's going on over there and what he was talking about. Let's play Cuomo right now. Oh, let's see. That was my... Let's see. Here we go, Cuomo.
All right, so Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger believes he had a win in court. Why? Well, the judge...
If you don't know, go over and follow this channel. I love watching it. It's called Colorado Ped Patrol. They go out and catch all these like pedophile guys live. So they set up all... It's kind of like a Chris Hansen thing. So they set up all these... like stings, and they tell these people to show up, and then they get them on live video, and it's like 5,000 people watching, and it's so great. They call these people out, the police come and arrest all these people. I think the guy over there has like 300 or 400 catches already. It's such a great thing that he's doing for the community and catching all these people, but it's so great. And the chat's like, brrr, you know, like so crazy. I love watching. These people are just like, what the fuck? And he's like, dude, I'm just going to call the cops. Like, if you want to talk to me, we can talk. If not, I'm just going to call the cops on you. So great channel. I love watching his lives. Like if I'm home on a day off and he has a live come up, oh dude, it's like live Chris Hansen. It's so good.
Judge did grant the defense access to the training records of 3 of the police who participated in the investigation that led to his arrest. Why? Well, that's the question. But here's the simple answer, okay? Because you can create the appearance of doubt by looking into who did the investigation and seeing if they are flawed in a way that could have affected their judgment. Let's bring in former FBI agent, News Nation Law and Justice correspondent Jennifer Coffindaffer. Hey,
and by the way, shout out to T-Rev for having Jennifer Coffindaffer on his channel the other day. If you haven't gone over, go over and check out that segment. He had a fantastic segment over there. You guys got to all check it out. So shout out to T-Rev. Good job, man.
High-profile defense attorney Mark Garagos. Mark, as a practitioner, what do you do with this kind of information?
You do exactly what they are doing, and it's a little bit infuriating that they're being accused of trying to do something that's untoward. They're doing exactly what a defense lawyer should do.
Which is?
Which is challenging the evidence as it comes in. They should be challenging everything as it comes in. They're not the ones who have the duty to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. The prosecution does.
Now, we remember this, not you, Coffindaffer, you're too young, but in the OJ prosecution, Mark Furman became a household name, especially when defense counsel found evidence of what they argued as prejudice and bias, and that maybe it affected how he did things, and maybe there was sloppiness. How concerning is this for the investigators?
It's not concerning because it's training records. I think what they're going for is to show that these officers aren't well trained and aren't well educated in terms of how they're doing their interviews, how they were conducting their crime scene investigation. But when you look at it, Chris, they are getting training records of people the prosecution isn't even calling on the stand. They're getting training records of individuals who were with other individuals that were looking at the same information. An autopsy, it's the ME that's going to testify about that, not these individuals. Other people who were interviewed, again, they were with multiple people. Those people will be called. So it's not like they have singular information. So it will fall flat, and those records should have been provided anyway.
Well, look, I believe in transparency, so it's good to have it. One other quick question for both of you. I don't understand this rush to take down the House. from the university perspective, from the prosecution perspective, and from the defense, right? So first we'll do prosecution, Jennifer. Why? I know the university wants to get it down because they're afraid that it'll affect people's perception of the campus and campus life, et cetera. But why wouldn't the prosecution say, no, we never know if we're going to need it?
It's surprising to me, Chris. That house needs to stay up there. It's so important for these jurors to understand spacing, to understand what you could hear in that house, to look from Dylan Mortensen's eyes as to what she could have seen and how it all played out. I think it's a terrible move.
Yeah, I see that from the defense perspective also, Mark. Like, I'd want it there. I don't know that I'm not going to hear something in testimony where I'm going to be like, wait a minute, what is this woman able to look around corners? You know, look at the angles here. You know, why lose that possibility?
It's going to recognize this chat. So Diane says, I found your channel 2 days ago, and I love how you run your sets. I think she means like our shows. I love how it's drama-free, and it makes it so much easier to keep coming back. Thank you. Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here this evening. We've, we're trying to just build a really great community here, and we do have a great community of people here that come out on a nightly basis. You know, I got a lot of people that come in and watch. That we don't want the bullshit. We want to just keep truth and justice in these cases. You know, so yeah, thanks for hanging out. We appreciate you here on the live. We do. We appreciate you here on the live.
I couldn't agree more. I think it makes no sense to take it down. If I were the defense, I'd be objecting wholeheartedly and full-throatedly. There's no reason in the world that this should be taken down prior to trial.
Hey, thank you for.
All right. I try to get those cut out before he pops up. So we had Cuomo. Now let's look at Bryan Enton. He did a segment on Banfield the other day, and we're going to talk about the police training records as well on this video. Let's see what Bryan had to say. Bryan, if you're watching, thank you so much for tweeting back to me today. That was pretty awesome.
Bryan Kohberger's lawyers asked, and the judge said
well
yes,
respected here on this channel.
Demand by Kohberger's legal team for background records of 3 Idaho police officers who took part in the investigation of last November's stabbing deaths near the University of Idaho. Coburger is the only suspect in the horrific murders of 4 university students. Prosecutors say they will seek the maximum punishment for murder in that state, which is the death penalty. And I want to bring in Jana Spilber. She is a defense attorney, trial analyst, and former prosecutor. Thanks for being with us, Jana. Explain to us what the defense could be doing here. Why would they be so interested? Because it was a bit of a fight for them to get these police training records for those 3 officers.
Sure. So what the defense team is doing here is investigating the investigators. And that's important for a number of reasons, not the least of which is evidence is only as good as its source. And in a case like this, which is especially heinous, quadruple murder, and just horrible, we only have one suspect, and that suspect really came about as a needle in a haystack. So from a defense perspective, it is really crucial to find out the training, the experience, and even the motive of the investigators that actually pinned down Bryan Kohberger as the sole suspect in this very horrific case.
So in a case this complicated, is it common for them to request these records? Like, would you kind of do that no matter what, just to see what's there? Or do you think this shows that this is going to be part of their strategy in terms of maybe going after the police? Is that going to be an important part of their defense strategy?
So it's both. Of course, as a defense attorney, you want everything that the prosecutor is going to provide to you, and then you can figure out what you're going to use, what you're not going to use. And keep in mind also, when you're talking about an investigation like this, the defense team is sort of at a disadvantage because we're not the ones who get the call in the middle of the night to go to the scene of the crime, right? We have to stand back. It's the prosecutor's job to do that. And then we have to hope that the prosecution gives us everything and anything that they were able to call and provide. So it's really, from a defense perspective, we got to get in there and ask for what we want. But from a strategy standpoint, I mean, I don't want to really make this comparison just yet, but let's take a trip down memory lane, right? Almost 30 years ago to the O.J. Simpson murder case, where in that case, it was the cops who tainted the evidence, which really lost that case for the prosecution. It might be a similar strategy here.
Are you surprised that the prosecution?
I've been saying this for weeks before the even talking about this. I've been saying this on day one when she started requesting those records. That's what I was saying right away. What time did I start? I started at 8:30 this evening, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Carrie H is saying, sorry, Leigh, I can't wait to watch the replay. You're going to want to watch. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to want to watch the first 25 minutes of the show. I would go back and rewind it. It was good. It was good.
Didn't just give these records up immediately because, we wouldn't even be talking about this now if they just handed them over. There was a little bit of a fight in court. The judge made a ruling and said, no, you've got to give the training records over.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a fight because you do want to keep some of this information private from the public, just like you don't want to dox these police officers, right? But it is still important from a defense perspective. So you can keep that part of it secret, but the defense team can still have access to the important part of those training records. And it was really important for the defense team to make this request. This is a capital case, right? They're trying to keep their
well, a sound experiment. This is a good question. Truth and justice matter. A sound experiment, let's say that you had an eyewitness outside the house that night that did hear a scream. The defense may challenge that and say, did you really hear that scream? I'm just hypothetically speaking, or the car peeling off, oh yeah, I heard, I came out and, say you have an eyewitness. I came out and saw that the taillights of that car peeling off. I heard it, in the, near the house in the distance or something. They may want to challenge that, or, maybe some activity that were inside the house. We know that the camera next door picked up some audio from it. Maybe they challenge, the validity of that audio, and try to go in and do a sound experiment inside the house. It could be something like that. I'm just guessing, but that's, it's a great question to bring up. All right, we'll keep playing through here.
Off death row. This is crucial information. It may lead someplace, it may not, but that's the defense team's call to make.
And unfortunately, with the gag order, we don't get to see any of the records or most of the documents like that at this point, at least. So we can't really decide whether they're important or not important. That's what's going to be so interesting about this trial, is so much is going to come out that we've never heard before during the trial. The trial now set for October, Jonna. Do you think that's actually going to happen? When they first set the date, everyone said, there's no way, but no one has really complained about that date yet in terms of the defense or prosecution. Do you think we may actually have a trial at the end of the year?
It seems so quick for a case of this magnitude. And, one of the things that I really have a question, maybe we will find this out later, is I'm looking at the absence of evidence in this case. There should be a whole lot of DNA, a whole lot of forensic evidence in Bryan Kohberger's car. Whatever car if he was the culprit, however he got out of there, that DNA is going to exist. You wouldn't be able to get rid of it if you tried. Where is all that evidence? This case is just weird to me because it's not, you can't say, Colonel Mustard in the library with the candlestick. It's not direct like that. So there's a whole lot of evidence that has yet to be seen. I don't know if we're going to see it all by October. That might be a little suspicious.
It does seem fast, but we'll see. There's been a lot of strange things about this case, and they do things kind of weird in Idaho sometimes. So we'll see. Jonna Spilbor, thank you so much for being on with us tonight. We appreciate it.
All right, good stuff there from Bryan Enton. And if you all didn't know, if you're just catching up, you're just coming to the stream, actually some interaction with Bryan on Twitter this afternoon, which was pretty cool. I kind of threw something out there and he actually responded to it. And I thought that was pretty cool. So, I've always respected Bryan. We play his stuff all the time, and his Idaho coverage has been amazing so far. So solid dude reporting on this. But let's do this. Let's go to everybody's favorite handsome hunk that you all melt over. But I want to talk about the actual demolition of the King Road house. Now, personally, myself, I don't think they should. I think that they should wait until the end of trial, but I understand what's going on is that right now the house basically has become essentially a biohazard site. And what I want to pull up, you got to think though too, Idaho right now, and I just saw their weather. I saw someone talking the other day. They just started getting their first wave of 100-degree heat. So you can only imagine with all the chemical processing that has been in that house, all the biological waste that's been in that house. You know, it's sad to talk about these things, but it is a reality. You got to think they've probably pulled up floorboards. They've taken out all that furniture during the cleanup. You know, so it's essentially it's a dangerous home. You know, a regular person could not walk in there right now with all the biological waste. But what I want to do is I wanted to pull up a couple of emails that were put out. I'm sure that you've all seen them, but, you know, just in good context for the show, I'm going to bring up this here first. So this was from the defense and Taylor, and I'm just going to bring this down so I can read it. Actually, I can just read it right from here. What am I doing? There we go. That's what I wanted to do. So, from Ann Taylor, and this is to, it says, "Good evening. I'm writing to let you know that the defense has no objection to the university proceeding as it sees fit with the residents in King Road." And you can see Kent Nelson there at the University of Idaho. Obviously, he's probably someone that's in charge of taking, you know, this project to figure out what they're actually going to do with this. So previously, the defense agreed to release the property. Upon communication with the university, we were asked to weigh in the demolition of the premises. We appreciate the accommodations of one of the final walkthroughs. After the walkthrough, our team has discussed the demolition of the premise again and have no objections. So essentially, they're saying they've gotten everything that they need from that house. They've seen everything that they need as far as evidence to help their case. So I want to go on here, and there was a response from the state. So let's pull that up. Let me just widen this up a little bit, and we'll pull this up here from Bill Thompson. So Bill Thompson writes back, and, you know, getting Kent Nelson also involved for the university. So they're collectively working together on this. Good afternoon, Kent. We have discussed this amongst ourselves with the investigation leadership and have no objection to UI proceeding as outlined. As you know, the court has already released the scene from law enforcement custody. Based on the stipulation of the parties, the scene has substantially altered from its condition at the time of the homicides, including the removal of relevant property and furnishings, removal of some of the structured items, such as wallboard and flooring, and subject to extensive chemical application, creating a potential health hazard. These are some of the reasons that we have concluded that the jury view would not be appropriate. Please let us know if you have any questions, and thank you for working with the families. Signed, William W. Thompson. Now, I know that there was some question to the validity of, you know, these emails. I don't see anything in here that would be any falsehood. It seems pretty legit. You know, nothing kind of throws me off here when I look at it. So I would say that, you know, they're just trying to do their best, working together to come to this common solution, because, again, you know, this place has been sitting for months, almost close to a year. There's extensive chemicals that have been used in there. Obviously, there's biological waste. It could be very dangerous if someone got into that house, in and around that house. So, you know, listen, I don't want to see the house demolished. I understand the horror that happened in the home. I understand the scars that it's going to leave. You know, I always say this every day: 1122 will always be with me. Will always be with me. That number will always stick in my head. That house, the structure of that home, I will always remember it. It's just such an odd structure. It's actually, it's actually, in my opinion, it's a very beautiful structure. It's just, you know, the history of it, hearing about all the layers that were put, you know, all the additions that were put into it, where the front door has been moved. It's just a very, I don't know the word for it. It's just, it's a very compelling home, you know, obviously because we know what happened in it, but it's something, even just if in regular time, if you drove through that neighborhood, I think, to me, it would be a house that would catch my eye. So yeah, I mean, 1122 will always, always be with me. Okay, let's pull up here everybody's favorite handsome hunk. We're going to listen to Peter Tragos, lawyer. He reacts to the Coburger demolition. Let's play through this.
We are here with an update on the Kings Road house demolition. We did a video last week discussing it, what it looked like, what the pros and cons were for demolition, how we felt about it, how you felt about it in the comments. Some people agreed, some people disagreed. I think that's all fair game. And we were explaining it kind of from our perspective as a lawyer, thinking about the defendant's right to a fair trial. What if we want to do a jury view? Things like that. But as we always say on this channel, and as we talked about with Mark Eiglarsh, the lawyers handling the actual case, the people subject to the gag order, I will say, the lawyers, the agents, the experts, the people actually working on the case always know so much more than we do. And in this case, it is specifically true and highlighted by that gag order because they are not even allowed to disseminate information about what's going on in the case for the most part. So we have to trust that the lawyers know what they're doing, that they know what is best for the case and for their clients, the people they represent.
See, this is where people have to pump the brakes in this case. Everybody flips out and says, this is the only evidence they have. They don't have anything else. If that's the evidence they have in this case, then Bryan Kohberger didn't do anything. He couldn't have. He wasn't there. Blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, they have more. Believe me, there's a lot more to this case. I was talking to Laura today about some certain things that might come up. And we said, well, if it happens, it happens. But that's what I said. People have to pump the brakes. They have a lot more in this case. What is everybody doing here in the chat? Oh boy. So Christine says, Bryan, you are a handsome one, not him. I could not compete with that man. Look at that head of hair. That's a beautiful head of hair. He's a beautiful man. And I'm secure in my manhood to say that. We always joke around about it over here. And Lindsay says, lawyer, has nothing on you, Bryan. I don't think so. He's a very handsome man. He could do movies. He's got one of those movie faces. That's why he's so successful. Look at him. All right, let's keep playing through here.
Whether it's the people of the state of Idaho or whether it's Bryan Kohberger, they know best. They are focused. They know what's going on. They have information. They have discovery. They have witness statements. They have pictures and videos and recordings that we will probably never see because not all of it's going to come in. And even if it does come in,
Paul Rudd. Who's that?
The trial
Rudd
might not be
televised.
So in an effort to fully understand that they know so much more than we do.
You guys are crazy.
Our friend Sleuthy Goosey posted on Twitter, and a lot of you sent it to me, some emails from the attorneys on both sides. And they agree with how they think this demolition process should take place, if at all. So we're going to look at those emails today. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and please subscribe to our page as we continue to grow the community talking about this, understanding. And this is like a different angle and element, right? Because now we have the university involved in the criminal process. What should they have to do? Are they violating people's rights? Are they choosing publicity over what's best for the case or over a fair judicial process? Is that actually what is happening? So let's take a look at these emails together. All right. So let's take a look at these emails together.
Oh, that was a bad edit.
And before we actually bring them up, I want to show here courtesy. This is from Sleuthy Goosey, courtesy of by Mike Baker, emails between the prosecution and the defense regarding the demolition of the crime scene. Okay. So thank you, Sleuthy Goosey and Mike Baker, for posting these. Let's take a look at what they say. First thing we can notice here in any email is who wrote it. Bill Thompson, we know who that is, the prosecutor for Latah County in Idaho. This was sent back on April 6th, so a couple months ago. And it was sent to Kent Nelson, who works at the University of Idaho, as you can tell by his email address. Good afternoon, Kent. We have discussed this amongst ourselves and with the investigation leadership and have no objection to the University of Idaho proceeding as you
kind of look
outlined.
like Jason Momoa.
Okay. So not just proceeding with the demolition, but proceeding as it was outlined by the University of Idaho. And not just the lawyers making the decision, but also the investigation leadership and investigation team who would potentially need to go back in, do more testing.
Hey,
what do we need to
Jennifer,
do? What do we need to keep? As you know, the court has already released the scene from law enforcement custody based on a stipulation of the parties. So the court has released it, not based on a court decision or something the court forced, but instead the court just agreeing to do what the parties stipulated to do. That's very common. If the parties agree to do something, the court's going to allow it for the most part, unless he feels like.
So I just had to stop the stream real quick, and I haven't done one of these in a while, but we're going to update. I'm going to go to the big screen here. We got to update the big board, and I'll tell you why we need to update the big board. So let's go over. We'll do this live on air. I haven't done one of these in a while. And Christine, we don't see Christine Brown anymore. She used to always ask me, what's the sub count? What's the sub count? Christine, if you're watching on replay, I hope that you're doing well. We haven't seen you in a while. But we're going to update the big board. Yes, Captain Jack Sparrow. He does kind of look like him. All right. Ready? We get to update it. I just hit 7,400 subscribers. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you. We're getting close to 10,000. Tanya's going to be there soon. We're getting close to 10,000. 7,400 subscribers. I appreciate it so much. All right, let's keep playing through.
He needs to step in the interest of justice.
Oh,
I didn't highlight it. I don't know if Sleuthy Goosey did or somebody else. The scene has been substantially altered from its condition at the time of the homicides, including removal of relevant property and furnishings, removal of some structural items such as wallboard and flooring, and subjected to extensive chemical application, creating a potential health hazard. So a couple times I said things like, if it was oozing toxic material, then it would be okay to demolish it. Well, it seems like they're saying potentially could be oozing toxic material. So it would make sense to actually demolish it now and not wait. It's funny. I didn't expect that, but that's what it turned out to be. These are some of the reasons that we have concluded that a jury view would not be appropriate because it is not in, and I'm adding here, because it is not in substantially the same condition, they're saying, because of the testing, because of what was removed. If you remember back to the Murdaugh case, the clothing was rendered useless because of all the testing. The raincoat was a different color.
Thank you.
These kinds of chemical testing and things that's done to evidence sometimes render it useless for a jury to view, and it could actually do more harm than good, confusing the jury. So in this case, they think we're better off demolishing it. We're not going to use it for a jury view, according to the state. And usually the state's the one that wants the jury view. Not always, but usually. Please let us know if you have any questions. And thank you for working with the families. Bill, so they did work with the families, even though Shannon Gray said they talked to us, but they didn't really take into consideration what we wanted, and they're doing the exact opposite of what we want. So I can see it from this side. All right, here we go. Next, this is from Ann Taylor. We know who she is, representing Bryan Kohberger, to the same Kent Nelson regarding 1122 King. Good evening. I'm writing to let you know that the defense has no objection to the university proceeding as it sees fit with the residents on King Road. Again, do what you want with it. It's your property. We don't need it anymore. Previously, the defense agreed to release the property. Upon communication with the university, we were asked to weigh in on the demolition of the premises. This sounds like an email she knows is going to be read by more than just Kent Nelson. We appreciate the accommodation of one final walkthrough. After the walkthrough, our team has discussed the demolition of the premises again and have no objection. Thank you, Ann Taylor. So what's interesting about this is they were granted one more walkthrough, and they did that walkthrough. And we talked about, what if there's something else? What if they want to do this? What if they want to do that? At this point, they're pushing towards a trial in October, and they should pretty much know what they want, what they don't want, what they need, what they don't need. Investigations have done chemical testing, walkthroughs, reconstruction, whatever it is they need to do. So they did one last walkthrough and felt like they've got enough. They've done what they need to do, and they have no objection. And again, she didn't just do it herself. She didn't just do it with her lawyers, but she also did it with the investigative team, the experts, the people that would do testing, the people that would say later, oh, you know, it would be nice if we could go back to the house one more time and see this or that, to see if we need to do any more testing. Well, at this point, it seems like everybody working the case on both sides who know what's going on, and as sad as it sounds, and it's not that I'm disagreeing with the victims or their families, their lawyers, but we know that they don't know as much as the investigation teams and lawyers on both sides know. So I think at this point, we have to trust that they don't need it anymore. Now, where that could change and where there could be a wrench in that is if they feel like they need it for the civil case.
Teresa.
The potential civil case, I should say. And if they do feel like they need it for the potential civil case, then they need to file a motion with the court to block this and explain why they need to do testing or take pictures or reconstruct or whatever, and get a court order to stop this demolition. Outside that, I don't feel like just saying it publicly is going to do anything to stop it. The two parties agree. The judge agreed to release it. And now it's up to the University of Idaho. They reached out to both sides and they reached out to the victims' families. Now, they didn't do what everybody wanted, so it seems, but they did at least reach out to everybody before making the decision to, now it seems like they are in the process of demolishing it. People have sent me some pictures. I should have put one up here. It looks like it's all boarded up and ready for demolition. But again, you guys tell me what you think. Do you think this makes it more likely to be fair and not create a fair trial issue later? Because the defense has agreed to it. And once the defense agrees to things and stipulates to things, they are assumed to have considered all the options and made the best decision for their client. And that's kind of where I feel like we are. And again, the fact that the whole team, the lawyers and the investigators did this together makes me feel more comfortable with it. And we have to trust that the lawyers most intimately involved in the case know what's going on and make the decisions that are best for that case and the client and people they represent. But I always want to hear from you in the comments, so let me know what you think and hit that like button on your way out. I appreciate everybody joining me, but for now, that's all I've got.
You know what I like about Peter? He doesn't give any of us, oh, my voice cracked. Oh, he doesn't give any other creative shit for like using his stuff, you know, like commentating over it, which is pretty cool. So hats off to Peter, because I know a lot of us, you know, look at, like, we're smaller creators, you know, we don't have that big rub. So trying to get a caliber guest like that is pretty hard. You know, I've always joked around on my channel, like, hey, Peter, the panel's always open to you if you'd like to come over to the LTL podcast. So, you know, it's good that we're allowed to do that. And he doesn't nail us with copyrights and shit, because we want to learn. You know, we're not lawyers. We want to learn. I got one more video here. We're going to go back to Law and Crime Network. We're going to listen to Shannon Gray talk about the death penalty and the demolition of King Road, and then we'll wrap this puppy up with a big bow on top.
Mr. Coburger prepared to plead to these charges?
The case against Bryan Kohberger is quickly moving toward trial. As expected, the state will pursue the death.
I'm going to just pause that real quick. Someone get nailed for music.
Question really was posed, you know, if you're not
King Road. I'm Anjanette Levy, and thanks for joining us here on Law and Crime. Bryan Kohberger was back in court this week, where his lawyers asked the judge to assist them in obtaining some evidence they want from the prosecution.
These are training records of 3 specific police officers. Your Honor, we have not asked for training records for every officer that has had anything to do with the case. I would not want to stand here and let the court think that this is an exhaustive list of the officers that we might need training records for. But these are 3 officers that we've requested them for, and the state has indicated they're not willing to get us the training records. These three officers are officers that have each conducted critical interviews with critical witnesses in the case, made decisions about the interviews, made decisions about evidence, and conducted other kinds of investigations. We seek their training records to understand their processes.
Coburger's court appearance came a day after the state filed a notice of intent to seek the death penalty against Coburger, which was expected. Prosecutors said the crimes were especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're trying. You know, we're trying.
After the defense filed a document claiming there's no connection between Bryan Kohberger and the victim.
Y'all don't understand like how hard this is. This is a grind. It's a grind. I mean, we love it. You know, I'm saying we because, you know, Tanya's in here, but this is tough. I mean, for 3 days, all I did on my little staycation that I had away from work was stream. And then I literally sat today for 6 hours, recorded videos and cut videos off from my live stream so I could pump some out over this week. I mean, we put a lot of work into this. It's a lot. It's a lot, you know, but we enjoy doing it. And it's just, we want to reach that level of some of these other creators. Cause I mean, I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody, but you know, some of the stuff that I watch and some of these people are like 40, 50, 100,000 100,000 subs. And I'm like, really? This is what people are watching? I'm like, I think Tanya and I put better shows on than this. You know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but we're pretty fucking organized. You know, we work hard. Like my prep today. If you go on my community page, I was watching I was in Tanya's live. This was at 4 hours ago. I was in Tanya's live and prepping for my show, and you can see my notes if you go to my community page. So I'm literally talking with Tanya, prepping my show, outlining all my tabs so it becomes a seamless show. I mean, we put a lot of work into this. It's tough. It's tough as a YouTuber. You know, it's tough. It's tough. But we love doing it. We love doing this. But we do a lot of preparation. I mean, I cut videos and intros and all that today for almost 6 hours. And then you got to do thumbnails. And then you drop a video and you're like, oh shit, it only got 60 views. You know, like it's tough. I did a badass video this morning, and I'm going to post that on my way out so you guys can all watch that. But I love it. The thumbnail was great. I felt like my sarcasm in the video was great, but we'll play that.
They also said
I'll put it up after.
DNA was found in Kohberger's car, home,
DJ.
Since the judge loosened restrictions,
DJ in the house. DJ's here. Say hi to DJ, everybody. He's very close to getting his channel up and running. Say hi to DJ.
Spoke with me about the state seeking the death penalty and more. Shannon, how is the family doing given that the fact that the state has given notice that they will pursue the death penalty against Bryan Kohberger?
Well, I mean, I think that was expected. I think it's a relief to the families. You know, it's up to the prosecutor to decide whether or not they're going to pursue the death penalty. The victims' families, you know, hopefully have some input, but ultimately it's their decision. And you know that we met with the prosecutor.
Lakota,
I think they
you're too much.
Family and the Carnoodle family, and
Lakota, you're too much. She's very, very kind. She's very, very, very kind. Always very kind to me. Lakota says, shout out to you for encouraging us to be better people. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, I don't know. Maybe some of these things that I say here are some of the things that I struggle with in my life. And I just want to encourage people to be those things. You know, I think we use this in these platforms for therapy. This is my therapy. It's my therapy. It's really how I choose and I want to spend my time. I really, really love doing this. I enjoy doing it. It's fun. I love the excitement of it. It's amazing that some nights, you know, we can pull 600-700 people. It was like, wow, you're 600-700 people are watching. And then there's the nights that are just the the consistency people that come in. I love seeing the consistency, and I know all the names. You're always here. That's the things that Tanya and I love. I would rather take the same 100 people, 30 people, 20 people, 50 people, whatever, as long as those names are consistent and we know who they are, because we build friendships and relationships with you. We know about your lives. It matters. It matters to us. And I have so many things planned for this channel. I just need that turn, that turn to get me in that direction. But we'll get there. We'll get there. We're building this community, and it's going to keep going. And we care. We care about all of yous. I wonder, like Christine Brown. I haven't seen her in my chat in weeks, maybe months. I hope she's okay. She's been here from the beginning. She's been here from the beginning. So, Lakota, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Let's do a couple of these, because I know everybody needs these.
Steven. Liar. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
You are fake news.
Smash, smash, smash. Great cash, homie.
All right, let's keep going here.
I'm sure they had conversations with the Chapin family on the case. And so I think it's more of a relief more than anything. So
how did the meeting with the prosecutor go?
Did I make a connection?
It was fine. I mean, we just kind of listened. And, I think like Christy and Steve and Olivia and the family,
I'll be right back.
The question really was posed, if you're not going to pursue the death penalty on a case like this, what kind of case would you ever pursue the death penalty on? So I think that was a good question for them. And ultimately they are pursuing the death penalty. So
the Gonsalves family has been the most vocal of all of the victims' families in this case. Gray says the Gonsalveses are looking forward as that October trial date nears. They're taking comfort in their other children and a new addition to the family. They do have the grandchild now. I saw that, obviously I think everybody's seen that Olivia had the baby. The baby was in court for the arraignment and everything like that. That has to provide some measure of comfort, I think, to Steve and Christy.
Yeah, I mean, they have their other children, obviously. Kaylee was a big part of their lives, a big part.
Sorry, I'm on a super, super low-cal diet, and I just got really hungry. I'm trying to lose like 15 pounds right now. I'm actually on Nutrisystems. I've used it before, and it's tough. You're going from probably eating 6,000 calories down to 1,000 calories. I'm in my second week right now, so I get about 1,500 calories. But sometimes you just get so hungry. I actually just had to grab a piece of like American cheese. I'm like, I'm hungry. I'm starving. But I'm trying to slim down about 15 pounds because I've gained about 15 pounds. And it's funny. I used to drink. I've been drinking a ton of Diet Coke. I've been off Diet Coke for about a week. I used to wake up every morning with inflammation through my whole body. I literally have stopped drinking Diet Coke. I have no inflammation when I get up in the morning. So if you have inflammation in your body, stop drinking Diet Coke. And believe me, I love a nice cold Diet Coke. And it's been so tempting to go to the store and get one, but I'm really sticking to this. So if you've noticed, my face has gotten actually a little bit slimmer. I'm down 5 pounds. So I can see it in my face lately. But I have to go up. I think I saw someone gift out some memberships, some members. I can't pull them up, but Carrie H gifted out 5 memberships. So I appreciate you so much. Let's welcome the new members. Thank you, Carrie H, for your gift. That was very kind. And you all, if you're new members and you haven't already, go over to my landing page. That's the front page on the front page of my channel. Scroll all the way to the bottom and you will see all the members only content. I try to post one video a week or one conversation a week from my members. So go over there, check out all of that, all that content. as for members only. And we do members only lives. We have fun in those. I had a really great one the other day when I had a lightning strike and literally my power went off, but I came back. All right, let's keep playing through this. Sorry.
Whole family's lives, and there's that can never be replaced in any way or shape or form. But the support of the family, they're a tight family. They're good. They balance each other out. I love them to death, and I think there will always be a part
great
of my
job,
life,
Marlon. That's great.
Forward. You go through the fire with people, and it bonds you in ways that you sometimes don't even understand. So,
as the families grieve, there is one thing that is making that process a little more difficult. The University of Idaho now owns
I'm down 5.
Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, and Xana were murdered last November.
I feel great.
The school
I really
plans
do. I feel
to move
great.
forward with raising the house. Gray says 3 of the families want
I get a little ways to go, though.
after the trial.
About another
10.
And
the defense telling the court they approved of the crime scene being released.
We have made it very clear to the University of Idaho that we do not want that house to be demolished, and they are ignoring us completely. And when I say ignoring us, I mean that they respond and they say, okay, yeah, we understand what you're saying, but basically tough cookie. We're going to go ahead forward with it because they say that it's for the good of the community and good for the University of Idaho, but it's not. It's not the good for the community or the University of Idaho. It may be good for the University of Idaho.
Thank you, Happy. I appreciate you. Thank you.
And forget that there was a murder that occurred right off campus, but it's not for the victims' families. Okay. And that's a massive piece of evidence. And we've stressed to them over and over about the Carnudo family, the Mogan family, and the Gonzalez family do not want that house to be demolished. And they're moving forward anyway. They just don't really care.
Oh, thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate you.
Hurry up and grieve. We need to move on as the University of Idaho. So, I think it's frustrating. I think that I know that the prosecution and the defense have released and the court has released the home of the University of Idaho because neither party is, I think, has made any objection to the demolition of the.
So Regina she's been a channel member. She's a crime enthusiast in and unfortunately for some reason we can't pull these up when you use your monthly membership 2-month, but we want to recognize Regina as a 2-month member. And she said, I stopped drinking soda for years. I got laid off on the May 22nd and I'm drinking ginger ale again. I need to stop. Soda addiction is real. It's so real and it's so bad. And I love cold Diet Cokes. Oh boy, I love cold Diet Cokes. But it's bad stuff. And I'm telling you, I stopped drinking Diet Coke. I used to wake up every morning and I would literally just be like cramped over. And all the inflammation in my body has stopped because all that sugar is out of you. Sugar is, when you're older, and I'm 45 years old. So when you're older, ginger ale is so good. It's so good. But all that sugar, when it leaves your body, you're good, and then your inflammation leaves. So yeah, I've been drinking a lot of the seltzer water. Yeah, the flavored water. So Brenda, I just want to recognize Brenda. She's been a rookie detective member for the last 3 months. So Brenda, congratulations. Thank you so much for being a member and supporting the channel. I appreciate it. I don't know, man. It's everything about it. It's the carbonation. It's probably the aspartame. I think it's the aspartame. They actually I think there was an article that came out the other day that they're going to actually, I think, deem aspartame as a carcinogen. I think it's going to get ruled a carcinogen. So that's really bad. I mean, I've been drinking Diet Coke forever. Oh, I love cherry Coke too. Oh man, a nice cherry Coke. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
The home was processed by Idaho State Police and held for many months. It's been under guard 24 hours a day since the morning of the murders. At one point, it was going to be released to the property owners, but the court halted that process at the request of the defense. The families are concerned it could still be needed for trial.
A big piece of evidence that potentially a jury might want to see it. I mean, there's sights and sounds and viewpoints, and angles. It's an odd shaped house where witnesses were standing.
We have a new member.
Potentially the defendant was
Carrie
standing,
H has upgraded her
locations
membership.
of how you could hear.
We want to thank her for that upgrade. She's now moved into the crime enthusiast tier. So thank you so much.
I got you, homie.
Haven't done that one in a while.
Something how you might not.
Thank you.
How you couldn't hear it if there was video. Each point of those videos, if they picked up audio or anything. So
I don't drink
a lot of
coffee either. I
things,
hate
think,
coffee.
Are important about that home, and we've just stressed.
Coffee's terrible.
Just hold on. Wait till the trial is over, and then do.
Thank you,
whatever
Carrie.
with the
You're a
property.
huge supporter. I always see you here.
They will
Thank
not
you.
listen, and it's frustrating for myself and the families, and them not really hearing us, but acting like they are. So we just, we want to let people know that we are adamantly against them demolishing that home, even though they have every right to do so.
Regina with the $2 super chat. She says, I'm glad I'm not alone in the soda addiction. Thank you, Regina.
Great cash, homie.
Thank you so much. Victorine has upgraded. Everybody's upgrading their memberships. I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Victorine, listen, Victorine has been with day one with this when I started doing true crime live streams. She's always in here, and I always make the joke. She's always the first one in my chat. And we've, through the power of this channel and the power of, this community, we've gotten to really know Victorine, and she's a huge supporter of me and this channel. And I can't say, more nice things about her. She's a very, very pleasant person. And I always enjoy it. And I always laugh because no one can outdo her. She's always the first one in this chat, and she's always the first to leave a comment. So you all need to try to beat Victorine on the next lives, and she'll be here for every live. It doesn't matter if it's Idaho or OJ or whatever we're talking about. She's always here. Really cool stuff. Thank you.
Come on, man.
All right, let's keep playing through.
But if they think that they're doing it on behalf of the,
I try to be.
Or the,
I have my flaws.
Families, it's not true. They think it's for the best of the community and the best for the University of Idaho to move on and I guess try to erase the fact that there was a quadruple homicide right off of campus. Probably business motivated. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's but it's not taking into consideration the families and what we want to happen. And we're not saying you can't demolish it eventually. We're just saying that, hey, just don't do it until the trial is over. And then even if they get into trial and they say, and then the jury's out or whatever it is, and we find out that it's not going to be needed, then go ahead and move forward then. But it's a massive piece of evidence, and I think destroying it doesn't do anybody any good, other than the University of Idaho basically saying, "Hurry up and grieve. We hear you, but we're not listening to you."
Look at that.
Have they given you guys any indication of what?
Congratulations, that's great.
Aside from raise the house.
I haven't really gotten into any details about what they want to do.
Yes, we do.
Different types of ideas and plans for it that we're not interested in right now. So we're interested in them preserving the home.
She's Canadian, eh?
Trying to make plans.
She's Canadian, eh?
And kind of, ask us that we we say that we don't want to have the house demolished, and then ask us what we want to do with the property after you've demolished it. I mean, now you're going to listen to us?
I reached out to the University of Idaho for a comment about the King Road home and the concern the three families have about the demolition plans and what plans the university has for the home in the future. Spokesperson Speedy Walker responded,
"You got a birthday.
This week, we began the process of removing the personal items from the house for the families to time if they will. From there, we will move toward demolition. No start date has been set. We have been in contact with the families about the house since taking ownership last spring. Meanwhile, late last week, Judge amended the non-dissemination order in this case, but denied a request from Shannon Gray to be exempt from it. The judge clarified that Gray can speak to the media on behalf of the Gonsalves family, but he has to be careful about what he says regarding evidence or other matters related to the trial. Gray tells me he plans to appeal the judge's ruling. The trial of Bryan Kohberger is scheduled for October. For Law and
That's it. Law and Crime Network. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm going to wait a few minutes because I just asked where everybody's from. All right, let's go back up and look. Where are we from? 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 We got Kentucky. Awesome. We have New York. Awesome. North Carolina now. Awesome. Eastern Pennsylvania. New Jersey. New Jersey. How far are you from Lodi? Are you far from Lodi, Chosen? I got to take a ride to Lodi. I want to go to Lodi Pizza. It's the home of my favorite band. Ohio, North Carolina, New Jersey, Utah. That's cool. Washington, South Carolina, Arkansas. That's my Massachusetts accent. Arkansas, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Western Australia. All right, we got overseas tonight. Utah, Salt Lake City is beautiful. I've been to Ogden before, by the way. Beautiful, beautiful. I would go back in a second. Pennsylvania, Las Vegas, another Washington, Nebraska. I've been through Nebraska. That's beautiful. Near Dallas, Texas. Hello, Dallas. Daytona Beach. Yep. Detective John from Daytona Beach. Kentucky, California, Montreal, Quebec. And that's the right way to say it. Am I right? Quebec, Canada. The Bronx. The UK. Someone watching from the UK tonight. That's awesome. New Jersey, living in North Cali. Georgia. Pittsburgh in the house. Yes, the Misfits. Of course it is. Look behind me. Of course it is. Cabo San Luca. Wow. Look at this. Marco Island, Naples, Florida. It's beautiful. Can't hear the attorney. I think you're way back in the chats. Utah, Michigan, and more UK. That's great. Nashville, Vegas, baby. I've been to Vegas once. I got very sick. I got altitude sickness when I went there. I was so sick. Dude, I'm taking a road trip out there, bro. We're going to meet there for pizza sometime. I'm taking a fucking road trip there. Nova Scotia, of course. Ohio. Idaho. We got someone watching from Idaho. That's awesome. Oklahoma. West Virginia, Nashville, Vancouver Island, Pennsylvania, Danzig, of course. Come on. Don't even fuck with me on that. Come on. Fuck Graves. Danzig all the way. New Hampshire, Southern Florida, Windsor, Ontario, Canada. We have Maine. We got Maine in the house. Did I get Southern Florida? Southern Florida. Correct answer, of course. You haven't even seen my Misfits collection. You haven't even seen it. It's insane. I was pulling stuff out on the last stream. It was great. I had everybody listening to Danzig. I was like, you guys gotta check out Danzig. I'm going to see The Boss on September 11th in Boston. I cannot wait. Not Bruce Springsteen. I mean Boss. They call him The Boss. Danzig. I'm going to see Danzig on September 11th. I'm completely stoked. It's the first time that I'm ever going to see him in concert, which is weird because I've had multiple opportunities over my life to do it, and I have not done it. And if you're wondering, like, who the hell are you talking about? Google, or not Google, go on YouTube and type in Danzig first album. Listen to it front to back. It is one of the most underrated rock albums of all time. It's definitely in my top 10. It's probably my number one favorite rock album of all time. And if you like the crisp sound of AC/DC, and you like guitars of the Cult, and you like vocals of Elvis or Jim Morrison, that's your album. There's not one bad song on that album. It bangs all the way through from front to back. There you go. I've now said it. Yes, but there's other great songs on that album. There's other great songs. Twist of Cain, She Rides, Soul on Fire, Not of This World is another great one. I mean, every song on that bangs all the way through. It's so good. It's so good. So we're coming up on 2 hours. Do you want to hang out a little bit more, or do you want me to wrap it up? What do you all want to do? Do you want to hang a little bit longer? I can stay. Yes, it's so good. It's such a banger all the way through. Yeah, those 4 people that came together to make that album is just unbelievable. What do you want me to do? Do you want to hang? We can hang a little bit longer. Oh, I lost 2 subscribers, so I'm down to 73.98. Do you want to watch another video? The video that I did today on Larry Nesser? If you haven't watched it, let's pull it up. I did a good video today. I actually sat and recorded a video. Oh God, I'm gonna play my own video. Is that bad? Is it bad if I play my own video? Let me know. Give me a Y or an N in the chat. Is it bad? Is it bad if I play my own video? I'm not rapping. I cannot fucking rap. Danzig, first album. Is it bad if I play my own video? I'm going to force you all to watch it. What you need to do is go watch my video after. I need some love on that video to get it out. Oh, by the way, let me get this up. Let me end this poll. All right, we'll play a video. Should the King Roadhouse be demolished before trial? No. It says 88%. Yes, 11%. We had 216 votes. 216 votes. All right, we're going to play the video. I did a video on that fucking scumbag, pedo, fucking Larry Nesser. I'm sure you all remember him in the Michigan's University State case. That fucker that touched all those Olympic athletes for years, and they screamed out and no one fucking did anything about it. Let's watch this. And then what I need you all to do when I'm done, just go back and interact with this video after so I can get it out into the algorithm. I'm going to post it, but we'll watch it. We'll hang here for a minute. I'm really proud of this video. I just like my sarcasm.
I'm giving you 175 years, which is 2,100 months.
Yeah, mind your business. What you can do is just go down and click the join button, or it's either join or it says see perks. When you click on that, you can upgrade your membership. Yes, trigger warning. But yeah, this so Larry Nesser, if you haven't, I won't give away the video. Let's just watch it.
I just signed your death warrant.
Well, the world could have been a better place today if they would have gotten the job done. Remember Larry Nesser? He was that scumbag doctor that had a position with the women's national gymnastics team and used his position to deceive and get close and touch all these girls. But things caught up with him in 2017 and 2018, where he was ultimately convicted of like 175 years. Well deserved, deserves every day to be in prison. Well, good old Larry had a little incident the other day. Larry was stabbed in prison. So ESPN reports here, Larry Nesser stabbed multiple times at a federal prison. Disgraced sports doctor Larry Nesser, who was convicted of sexually abusing female gymnasts, was stabbed during an altercation Sunday with another incarcerated person at the United States Penitentiary, Coleman, in Florida. Nesser, who was stabbed 10 times, at least twice in the neck, a source with knowledge of the details of the attack told ESPN. The Associated Press first responded the attack Monday. 2 people familiar with the incident, but not authorized to publicly discuss it, told the AP that Nesser was in stable condition Monday after being stabbed in the back and chest. Yeah, they just didn't get the job done. Allegedly. When reached by ESPN, the Federal Bureau of Prisons cited security concerns in not confirming the identity or health of condition of any inmate, but noted we can confirm on Sunday, July 9, 2023 at approximately 2:35 p.m., an inmate was assaulted at the United States Penitentiary Coleman 2 in Sumterville, Florida. Responding staff immediately initiated life-saving measures. I should have taken a break. Oh, I forgot the coffee is brewing. Gotta grab my toast out of the toaster. That's what they should have done. But staff requested emergency medical services and life-saving efforts continued. The inmate was transported by EMS to a local hospital for further treatment and evaluation. The Bureau of Prisons also noted that no other staff or inmates were injured, and the FBI has been notified of the incident while an internal investigation continues. Of course, there was no one else hurt. Of course, there was no one else injured. They were going after this guy. This is what they do to these particular type of toilet bugs. This is why these people get, scribbled out in prison, because a lot of the people that are in there have dealt with these types of torture in their lifetime. So this is a time that they can get back, allegedly. So we go on to read, just get familiar with Nesser. If you're not familiar, Nesser, 59, was sentenced in 2017 to 60 years in prison on CP charges. In 2018, he was sentenced to an additional 40 to 175 years in prison for SA gymnasts, including Olympic medalists. And in February 2018, he received an additional 40 to 125 years in Michigan State Prison after pleading guilty to additional 3 counts of SA in Eaton County, Michigan. Originally sent to prison in Tucson, Arizona, he was attacked shortly after being released into the general population. Authorities transferred Nesser to current maximum security prisons about 90 minutes from Tampa. I mean, this is what's going to happen to this guy. The minute he gets out into general pop, they're going to pop him. I mean, they're going to have it out for this guy. He's, probably not going to make it. And that's why a lot of these child predators always end up offing themselves before too long. So we'll go on to say here, and now after the most recent attack, a source tells ESPN that Nesser would need to be moved to another prison. So they're just going to play chess with this guy. They're going to keep bouncing around, and eventually, everything's going to catch up with him. Former gymnast Rachel Denhollander, who was the first woman to publicly accuse Nesser of SA, reacted on Twitter to the latest attack on the former gymnast doctor, saying, "None of the women I've spoken with are rejoicing today. We are grieving the destruction across so much. We're grieving the reality that protecting others from him came to the near certainty we would wake up to this someday. I want him to face a severe prison sentence and receive because of the voice of survivors," said the attorney and victim advocate Sarah Klein, the first known woman to be abused by Nesser. "I absolutely do not support violence because it's morally wrong, and death would be an easy out for Nesser." Nesser admitted to SA athletes when he worked at Michigan State University and U.S. gymnasts with trans Olympians. Separately, he pled guilty to possessing CP. During victim impact statement in 2018, several athletes testified that over the course of Nesser's more than 2 decades of SA, they had told adults what was happening, including coaches and athletic trainers, but it went unreported. More than 100 women, including Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles, collectively sought more than $1 billion from the federal government for the FBI failure to stop Nesser when agents became aware of the allegations against him in 2015. And shame on them. Shame on these people that didn't take any of this serious. Shame on these people that covered this up. He was arrested by Michigan State University police in 2016, more than a year later. Michigan State which was accused of missing chances over many years to stop Nesser, agreed to pay $500 million to more than 300 women and the girls who were assaulted by him. U.S. gymnasts and U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee made a $380 million settlement. It's not enough. It's not enough money. Money will never take care of the scars that these victims have for the rest of their life. They will deal with this every single day, what this animal was allowed to do. And, hopefully some prison justice will be done in this situation. So, yeah, Larry Nesser stabbed multiple times at a federal prison. Let me know how you feel down there in the comments below. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and turn on all your bell notifications so you know when I go live or drop new content. I'll see you next time, live or on video. I'm B, and I'm out of here. And that's it. So, Larry Nesser got pretty close to getting a little scrub-a-dub-dub-dub-dub-dub in prison. So, I don't care for people like that, especially that fucking animal. So absolutely, hashtag prison justice. And you know what I mean? You know what I mean when we say the old prison justice. We know what I mean. Yes, thank you. If you could do me a favor, excuse me, after I get off this live, if you can go over and just give that video a little bit of love, just, watch it for a couple minutes, give it a thumbs up. Yeah, exactly. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Exactly. Tomorrow night, let's see. I'm going to start the Grant Amato trial. Day one tomorrow. That is the link for that. Go in there. Click your reminders. Listen, it's a great stream. 2-hour banger. 2-hour banger. But I think this is going to end the stream tonight. I will be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll start the day one trial, an opening statement of Grant Amato. And it is a wild trial. You're not going to want to miss it. I don't know. Anybody have any last things to type in the chat before I go? Yeah, right. The prisoners who attacked deserve a shorter sentence. They did their service. Absolutely. Always. Check your email. All right. Detective John in the house. Dude, we got to get you back on the panel soon. Everybody was loving it. Everybody was having fun. You all get some rest. I'm going back on an 8-day stretch at work. It sucks. I hate it. But bills got to be paid. We got to work. It's just the way it is. But I will be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes. No more annoying voices. All right, all. Be good. Thank you so much for coming to hang out. Go over and support Titanium Built. Let's get that fucking channel up to 10,000 subscribers. When Detective John gets his stuff going, go over and support him as well. I'll be back. But for now, peace. I'm out of here. See ya.